How's it going, Hibiscus? Are you well? Have you been stable? You not been crazy? You've had happy, healthy thoughts? Oh? We should probably talk about Rahu being conjunct with Venus and why you're going to dry those tears, why it's your time to conquer, and we're going to keep ourselves in check. Grab a cup of jar, get comfortable. Let's have a cosmic chit chat. Let's do some quick context setting. April is a disrespectful month, right? We are in a weird energy where we're coming back off an eclipse that takes us to a crossroad, right? The eclipse occurred in signs which are particularly difficult. So that puts people into a heightened state of insecurity, paranoia, and really, I think just really being scared about trusting that the road ahead will be okay. But that's all an illusion, because an eclipse is what? It stops the soul's light from shining. That's absolutely not going to be the case, okay? And the reason it's so crazy is because the eclipse was particularly potent, right? It's played out in signs which are known for manipulative speech, like a victim mentality and deep insecurities. That is not easy energy to navigate through, right? And the whole point of the eclipse is to bring you to this particular set of mind where you are aware you have to pick a new path and you have to wrap stuff up. But that's a lot of pressure when you're not feeling secure, put together, and trusting yourself. However, you are blessed with Rahu and Venus being conjunct. Rahu and Venus together talks about someone who literally has such a sense of passion, purpose, and self-belief to achieve their goals. But to get it, they need to be disciplined. They need to be able to kind of understand their own behavioral patterns and not be so easily misinfluenced. And yeah, most importantly, they take really good care of themselves. So their well-being is at a point where they can chase their dreams and not be burnt out and like basically distracted by stupid things. Oh, you get where we're going with this horoscope video, right? Good. Grab a cup of jar, start sipping, and let's go and sip, baby. Let's explore Rahu and Venus conjunct together in a bit more detail, okay? So, first things first, they really like each other, which is a benefit to us all. So what that means is they will want to enable each other to achieve and get what they are desiring. And these two signs are very materialistic. They are given a lot of resources. They have a lot of self-confidence to make that happen. That literally is such a boon, considering we are in such a disrespectful month and we have been like pushed against the wall. We've been dealt cards that we knew we were going to be dealt, but doesn't make it any easier when they're finally placed in our hands, okay? So this is talking about after the chaos, getting back up. And remember, it's these signs are meeting in the Pisces nakshatras. Pisces nakshatras are so influenced by God. So it's like, even in the thick of this chaos and this hurt, you really feel like God's hand is on you. That is beautiful energy, right? But like anything with Vedic astrology, nothing is binary. It's very fluid energy. Rahu and Venus being conjunct, and this was my personal take, I don't think majority of people are going to be very adequate at handling it, right? Because even though Rahu and Venus are very successful, and when you fuse them together, it's like a powerhouse, the average person, if they don't have a disciplined mindset, they're not very self-aware, and they kind of move around the world purposeless, this brings out such ugly energy in people, right? So the number one thing I see with this, when people cannot harness this energy properly, is such a brat mentality. It's like they want everything in the world, but they're not going to put in the work. They kind of have like a fog around them where they literally cannot comprehend or have any self-awareness as to why things are not working out with them. And they'll blame everything else, right? Or they'll want to take shortcuts, and then they're surprised why like the thing they built didn't have foundations to be like have longevity, to really last the course. It's that nonsense, right? Also, if someone is not, I'll say, powerful and self-reassured enough, Rahu and Venus can make someone feel really, really insecure. They won't trust their own abilities to achieve something. And I think all of that is really pivotal because you've got to remember, we're coming off the back of an eclipse, which talks about bringing someone to a crossroad. Most of your April is meant to be about doing the mental work, about committing to a new path ahead. And it's really making sure you are using your decision-making abilities to their best to pick something that is much better, happier, healthier. It will be unconventional and it probably won't be a path that you envision for yourself or this quickly, but it will be there nonetheless. So that Rahu and Venus can really make or break your April. And I think also, just like general consensus, like I outlined on this slide, is look, Rahu and Venus, I think, again, for the average people is not that great, but I think at a collective level, it will do the following. So Rahu talks about things being provoked, so radical change can be pursued. It talks about fated events, and it talks about the divine plan being unveiled. And long story short, when we look at Venus, Venus basically represents everywhere where we mess up, where we have been sloppy, okay? So I was like, yeah, I reckon during this time, the following things are definitely happening. We're going to see any kind of unfaithfulness, cheating of people, any untoward behavior be exposed in April. And it will start getting much more stronger as soon as we get into like May, June. So April is like that, right? Next we're going to have, of course, Rahu and Venus are very, very like hungry signs. They want to experience all of Maya in all of its colors, right? But if they can't control themselves, they get themselves into very sticky situations. So I was like, yeah, we're going to see more intimacy scandals coming out and more kind of like, we'll say harassment, untoward behavior, lawsuits coming out. And lo and behold, like the day this kicked off, Kamora Lee Simmons' daughter was exposed for being in a relationship with a much older man. Basically, she's 21, I believe the man is in his 60s, and there was a lot of conversations around what is this arrangement, because this is not love or whatever. And then someone pulled a clip of her with her dad, who's also accused of abuse, being like, if you stop paying for me, I'll get a sugar daddy. And then it was just like a weird back and forth. So we have that. We have a lot happening in April. 2024 is a Saturn ruled year. Justice is coming in hot and heavy for so many people, right? And then unfortunately, the other thing I said was, look, this is going to be a time where we see increased global tensions really start playing out in very, very scary ways. Yeah. Again, obviously in Vedic Astrology, we believe in free will, but I think one thing I would say to be of comfort to people, pay attention to the Saturn video that I release soon, because I think that will explain why the madness and badness has to occur. But essentially, we're in a time where new leaders, new community people, messengers and all that are meant to come into the limelight. So I kind of think, to a certain extent, because humans are so bad at being proactive, sometimes it has to get that bad so it triggers people to take action, and then we say we're done with this dynamic. And obviously, if you've been following me for a while, I'm like, yeah, we're in the downfall of colonialism. Even if you don't believe in astrology, you can see it happening with the economics, the shift in like world relationships, international law. Like, yeah, you're seeing it happen real time. So Rahu and Venus is moving that story and journey along. Next slide. Now let's talk about, where are Rahu and Venus meeting? So Rahu and Venus are going to be getting very, very cozy in all the Pisces nakshatras. And I thought this would be a good time to kind of outline what are the key differences between each types of Pisces. So firstly, let's start with Bhuvabhadra, right? Bhuvabhadra is ruled by Jupiter, so justice, knowledge, dharma. Bhuvabhadra literally talks about understanding that whatever unfolds in life, ultimately the answers are inside of us. If you think about Rahu and Venus being conjunct, it has a heightened sense of ambition but aggression too. But this is not going to other people and asking for protection. This is not looking for guidance. It's being like, if this is what I want to achieve, then I am capable and I can make it happen. this lends me to Uttarabhadra, right? Uttarabhadra symbolizes a really key point when the soul stops being passive. So Uttarabhadra is ruled by Saturn, okay? Saturn is the original victim. So this talks about, to a certain extent, you end up being so fed up or so disrespected where you are shocked into a state of engagement. I think we can all relate to that on different levels with how things are currently playing out, right? But it's literally showing you in your face, you need to get up, you need to do this. Because if you remain passive, if you remain with this outlook, this mindset, this blind eye thing you have going on, nothing good can come. Rahu and Venus are our ambitions. They're hungry. They want us to get what they want. It's like the perfect little storm to get you where you need, right? And then finally, Ravati. If you summarize Ravati talks about planting new seeds for a fresh era for the newer generations ahead. Put that into a timeline. So what are you going to go? You're going to firstly realize everything you need is inside yourself and stop begging others to make it happen for you. It's going to free you of validation from others. It's going to free you of ego. It's going to be very, very liberating. And a part of that is exposing the hypocrisies. One of the biggest things I was thinking about, because I've been rereading stuff about like Kali Yoga and stuff, which talks about a destructive mindset that stops humanity and like brings us down. I literally think that, sorry it cut out, but I literally think they're referring to colonization. And if you think about the systems and structures and culture of colonialism, it makes someone think they have to go to the supreme one, whatever, to get answers to progress in life. And we're literally seeing that crack. Think about how employees are like rebelling against companies and how much our attitudes towards our careers and work have changed. I love this energy personally. Okay, cool. So once they have the realization, everything they need is within themselves. Obviously, there are very heavy moments or life experiences that shock us into changing our behaviors. So we're no longer passive. We understand if we remain numb like that and we don't take control, we will end up in very awful situations where we are the victims of all victims. Then that takes us to Ravati, which is about completing a journey. We are done with this era, right? We're wrapping it up. But Ravati also creates, right? So once we wrap this up and we understand we're done with this, we can then start taking actions and giving out knowledge and all the good things to create a better future. It's a beautiful story that's unfolding. But again, it takes, as I discussed earlier, that discipline, being grounded that the thing that we're desiring is the correct thing, and then just wholeheartedly going for it, right? This brings me on to the next slide. So I want to wrap up this video by giving you two very stark examples of Rahu and Venus being leveraged for good and then leveraged for bad. So let's start off with my ladies. So three of my favorite celebrities have Rahu and Venus conjunct. Let's start off with my idol, Kareena Kapoor. So she has Rahu and Venus conjunct. So does Priyanka Chopra. So does Lady Gaga. And they have a lot of commonalities. The first thing that came to mind, I was like, oh, all their life partners are like really different. So obviously Seth is Muslim, Kareena's husband, and then he had a whole family before her, which is kind of unconventional by Indian like standards or whatever. And then they have an age gap also, I believe. And then with Priyanka Chopra, husband is American, there's an age gap, he's younger, different religion too, like Kareena. And then with Lady Gaga, obviously, like, she's fluid, she has interesting relationships. I think even now she's still unmarried. So that Rahu and Venus, if you wanted a romantic front, I think this is also talking about the beginnings of relationships that other people may not understand, but will turn out very fruitful in your life. Me love that. Anyway, back to the point. So a few things I outlined was, look, Rahu and Venus is extremely potent, and as I've explained, only a few can like successfully harness it to get what they want. But if you think about all three of these ladies, regardless of kind of like the criticisms, people's opinions, thoughts, or whatever, they intrinsically understand their own beauty, their own talent. They're willing to put in the work, and they have like a sense of unwavering faith within inside themselves. And look how far it's carried them. And also, I think with Rahu and Venus, it talks about a certain level of fame that's achieved in an unconventional kind of unbelievable type of way. Even when you think about Karina's career, right? Most Bollywood actresses get aged out, and I feel like with Karina, like literally her career is like restarting all over again, like the resurgence of her. And it's just, it is that deviance in Rahu that carries them far. It's that thing that makes them foreign, different, disruptive. Even with Priyanka Chopra, like obviously she got iced out of Bollywood for certain reasons. Girls who get it. So do the gays who get it. If you don't, I don't know why you're following me if you don't get that reference. Like, what are you doing here? Please, watch Bollywood, get cultured. Come on now. Come on. But either way, so with Bianca's career, a few things, right? So it was obviously huge. Then it was stumped. Then she's kind of backed into a corner where it looks like things are going to end. Does she take it lying down? No, it goes to America. And think about how her career has literally flourished since being in America. It's those conquering turns, foreign, we love it. With Lady Gaga, like again, her career. Look how she approaches her career. Completely unconventional, full of expression. Like, you can see the things that unify these people. Do it well. But the reason I think they leverage it really, really well compared to the heathens we'll look at next is I think internally, whilst all three of these people are deeply ambitious, I don't think that ambition has ever left them. There's also this self-awareness that it's not about just winning blindly. And also, my ambitions cannot fulfill every need I have. So I have to make time for like self-care, pursuing things and looking like after myself in different avenues and personal relationships. That's why I think all three of these ladies are spectacular examples of Rahu and Venus being conjunct and using it well. And obviously, all three of them are hot as hell. So again, I told you in the Mercury video, beauty comes into it. Put yourselves together, okay? Now let's look at these questionable people. So, theoretically, if you misuse Rahu and Venus energy, even if you achieve the creme de la creme of your sector, you made a huge disruption to your chosen career and whatever you want to contribute in life. Rahu and Venus, when not leveraged properly, can turn even the world's biggest, longest bouts of admiration into repulsion of the people. And basically with this slide, what I outlined is, Rahu and Venus talks about someone who will accomplish great things, and it triggers like a career trajectory like I don't think most people could even conceive of. But there's this huge thing of these people being given numerous warning signs that if you keep going this way, I'll give you the things you want, but it won't be worth it. And the failure to do so, every kind of dollar I give you, I'll give you a minute of scandal, emotional craziness and unhappiness in your life. And it's like, okay, is the trade-off worth it? And with these three individuals, I was thinking about it, right? Again, all three of them have unconventional relationships. So like obviously Chris and her different marriages, and then like Corey Gamble and everything with like Caitlyn Jenner. Oprah has Stanley, but there's so many conversations around like, are they married? Is Stanley a bid, etc. I'm just going to say Epstein Island, and you can guess how that applies to the in-between character. But the key thing here is, and I said it loads in my Patreon, so go and check that out because it's like an hour-long video where I really unpack it. But basically I was saying, like, if you look at these individuals, there's something about, even if they're rewarded what they want, they hurt so many people along the way. So if you think about how Monique speaks about Oprah, and now we're in a time zone where like so many people are speaking out against Oprah and how they feel exploited by her. Again, Bill Gates, do with that information whatever you will. And then with Chris, yes, she built a successful family, but like also I think there are serious conversations around like, how have you harmed your children? And like Courtney is very expressive, being like, no, my mom's crazy, this is how she's done A, B and C to us, but I'm breaking generational curses. So you get the point, right? Bada boom, bada bing. Look, you will be fine for the rest of April, but I wanted to pop in with you guys now because it's really pivotal. Pivotal? Pivotal. Oh, this stellium in the 12th house will forever kick my ass when it comes to speaking. This time next year, I'm going to sound like Smooth FM, like so. But, wait, what was my point? Oh my god, why does this always happen? Oh, I lost track. It will come to me. It will. Oh, it came back to me. Okay, I have it now. Look, the whole thing with Rahu and Venus being conjunct together, me speaking to you now, is the following. Yeah, life has kicked your ass. You are in a position. I don't fully think any of you should be surprised to be in the position you're in personally, but we'll just go with the whole thing of shock horror. Here we are. But what you're meant to be doing right now. I got my train of thought back. So, what I was trying to say is, look, the reason it's important to talk to you about these transits now is because you can actually do something with it. So yeah, I know the first 2 weeks of April were not fun. They weren't meant to be. They're meant to bring you to a crossroads, right? And you're stepping into this mindset where you are becoming very self-aware of what you bring to the table, who you are, and what your future could be. And it's no longer a case of just daydreaming about it. It's going to feel very tangible. It's going to start to feel like it's within reach. But before you reach for it, just ask yourself a couple of key questions. Why do I want this? Is it really authentic to me, or am I trying to impress other people? 2, on this path to achieve what I want, what are my values? How do I make sure I don't stray or deviate from the path or turn the path into something it was never meant to be? Have you ever heard that phrase? The path to hell is laid with good intentions. That type of thing. Oh, I literally just thought of Fall Out Boy then. Oh, tune. Anyway, sorry. Concentrate. I'll see you. The third thing is, oh god damn, I did it again. Oh.
Free me from ADHD gods. Next time I want to reincarnate as an atypical person. This is hell. Actually, this isn't hell. I mean, there are worse things, but...
Okay, it came back to me. On top of that, right? How do I take action that makes it tangible so I am in control and I'm not too reliant on other people to make it happen? So just concentrate on things like that, because what you want is actually in reach, but it's just a case of, is it right for you? Are you doing it for the right reasons? And if I got what I wanted, what kind of person would I turn into? Sometimes I think God doesn't give people certain things at certain points in their life purely because they're dumbasses. They would ruin it for themselves, or God forbid they would embarrass themselves. I think it's fair to say a lot of you, the universe, aka Babaji, has kicked your ass enough that you have matured and you understand what your shortcomings are. So now if we're at a point of completion and forgiveness and you've accumulated all this wisdom, how would you use it differently? You know? Okay, cool. Those were your first batches of April horoscopes with me. See you in May, baby!